Deze is hartstikke awesome Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. I hope everyone's doing great. We are excited to have another episode with you guys. Episode, I believe, 247. We are a month away from 5 years of Inside Scoop. Crazy, man. But I hope everyone's doing great. I am sharing the pod right now, which you all should be doing as well. And we have lots of tournaments to talk about, as there was a lot going on this weekend, as well as over the past few weeks. So everyone join in, tag a friend, and let them know, hey, watch Inside Scoop on the Martial Arts Center Network. What's up, Alex?
How are you, buddy? To talk about. There's a lot of stuff for us to get into. I'm excited for all of it. For me, what's going on here, man? Let me tell you this. It's kind of like it's kind of first world problems ish, but I tell you, when you do any kind of like remodeling at your house, you start second guessing like life decisions, like big time, So
yeah,
and we're not even really doing anything crazy. We're just getting a patio done, like behind our garage, like behind our house, right? It's pretty big. I mean, it's not cheap. It's pretty expensive. But then we're also getting all new windows done and everything. And it's like it's just, if I could do it over again, I'd pick a different guy. And it's one of those situations where you're like, why? And listen, everybody knows, don't ever pick the cheapest guy. Don't ever do it.
Oh, don't do that.
We didn't, but nothing's cheap. So what is that? It's relative. It's like it's. I'll tell you what. You know what it is? Here's what it is. It's marriage counseling. Do any kind of remodeling in your house. That's marriage counseling right there. Only you don't have a middleman, so it's not really marriage counseling. It's just like, hey, try not to die. I don't know. That's what's going on.
All right, Alex. Hey guys, so if you see, I want you guys to put whatever topic you would like for us to discuss today. There's so much going on. This is our Sport Karate free for all. We have some things we want to talk about that happened this weekend, but we want you guys to quiz us a little bit, some Q&A, and make this show fun today. I'm going to share what I did over the weekend, which was a last-minute trip to New York, and I went to deliver some things to Boyce Lydell, yes, the owner of MBL, deliver some things to him that I had been storing for him for some years now that had to do with MBL and stuff. And so I went over there, did that, and then surprised him with the award that we made for him last year.
You weren't like laundering money for him, were you? Is that what you were storing for him?
No.
Store like 50,000.
We have a bunch of big screen TVs and computers and stuff that we had for all the tournaments that we would do, with Juventex and whichever system we were using, Eventredge and Man Action, all that stuff. So I went and dropped some of those off, but also surprised him and got to just hang out with him. And he was super happy to see me and Shelly. And so we went out there, and I tell you, man, it's a really cool area up there. Everyone thinks, oh, New York City. It's not New York City. All right. Jamestown, New York is like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes north of Erie, PA, or Pennsylvania area, right off of that line. And actually where Boyce lives is where Lucy, I Love Lucy, like where she was born, right? So they have the whole National Comedy Center. They have the Lucille, the I Love Lucy.
It's a really good comic too.
Museum. They have just all kinds of different things there. There's a lot of history there. And there's also Lake Chautauqua and the Chautauqua town, all kinds of different things that they had there. and it's really nice. So, you know, and there's a lot of antiques around the area, but that's what he's into. Okay. So his building now, what he's been doing is every floor is a different time period, right? So when you walk into the main floor,
His house?
of his house / business, okay, it's seven floors, this building he owns, okay? So each one, the main one is a Victorian shop, okay? So based from the 1880s to like 1900s. So when you go, everything is Victorian. That's what he's going to be opening next year. All right. The next floor, I don't know if it's down or up because it's all craziness. It's like the art gallery period, which is from 1900 to 1920s. Okay. And he's got a museum on one floor. He has like an 1880s shop on one of the floors, which means like everything, he's got like 100 doorknobs from that time, right? 100
And I'll tell you this.
thousands of nails from that time. He's got paint from the 1920s. Okay.
And I can appreciate that kind of stuff. Number one, if I were to like, my personal design style is pretty traditional.
Right.
But I also, because I'm in the industry as well, so I understand how expensive, just like those doorknobs and like classic keys, like things just like a door hinging and a doorknob, lock and key. You would not think it'd be that expensive because you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, and you can get a solid core, nice 6-panel shaker style door, you know, with nice new hinging doorknobs, locks, everything, deadbolts, you name it. And maybe at the highest end, maybe you spend $2,000. I'd be willing to bet that if you got like a classic door from that time period, and you know what's the funny part? A lot of times like the doorknobs you probably saw, they're lower.
Yeah, yeah.
They're lower, right?
Yeah, there's a lot
it wouldn't surprise me if like just a normal door and handle, lock and key was $6,000. Would not surprise me at all.
He's got millions and millions of dollars worth of stuff in there. It's insane.
100%.
And he's got an elevator that takes him, like an old school elevator, like one of the ones from back in the day. It's really cool. But yeah, he's one of the first, like the main owners and collectors of Roycroft. That's what you're talking about there, Brett. And Roycroft is a brand from back in like those days. So I mean, there's so much going on that he's working on, but he's hoping to have by April or May next year his store completely open. He's got museums. He's got all kinds of stuff, ideas. He wants to actually have food going on in there too. So he's got these big plans. So it's cool to see him excited about it. But he does all this stuff on his own. Like he'll get a new piece in and he'll start creating and fixing it and repairing it. And what's cool is that he uses the old tools to repair these things, you know? So it's pretty
the only ones that you can. That's why it's so hard. That's why you don't see so many people do it, because you can't do it with like new ones. Like even just something like if it was a house, like this house that he has, or this I'll say property or estate, because I don't know what the place is. Just a normal estate, it would just be common practice to use plaster for plaster walls. And with what I'm talking about for insiders is going right over your head, I'm sorry. But nobody makes homes with plaster walls anymore. That ended in the 60s, right? So now if someone could have been in the industry for 30, 40 years, they would have never done that. I mean, maybe they would have come across it because they did like a remodel of something back then. But I mean, for real, like they don't. It's drywall and beyond. So that's nutty to really think about it.
Yeah. So it was cool to visit, present him with that award. He was really surprised about that, and he thought that was really thoughtful and cool that a couple of us got that together. You know, there's so many things. It was cool just sharing old stories, hearing about the beginning of MBO again. You know, I've heard plenty of it, you know, but what was just cool was hearing some different names, and just different people that had been around. He had asked me about what this person's doing, because I'm still out there, you know. He's like, so it was just fun, you know. again, guys, if you guys have any questions about the NBL or something you want to share, positive thing, this is a good time to do that now. I know for me, one of my biggest memories, let's just share like my first NBL regional tournament was in 1993. Okay. And that was in Virginia. And I actually just went to their new tournament a couple weeks ago in Abingdon, Virginia. It was
Same
Penny
tournament, just now.
Yeah, owned by ran by the Sun now, right? But
Got
same
it.
karate school that kind of did it. But they took
That's
literally
cool.
did a 30-year gap in between tournaments. Okay. So
Wow.
that's pretty cool. But that was the first one, and that was where I first saw God Squad, which was Dewey Earwood, and I saw Gary Wall the first time. A lot of these guys were the first time I ever saw. And this was the first time that I saw the most gigantic boombox speaker in the history. All right. And this was 93. So I wasn't really touring NASCA yet. And I was seeing some of these a little bit at like Battle of Atlanta and stuff. But I just thought this was just to another extent. Okay. It was literally the size of like, like a desk. Okay. And it was just insane. And the whole place shook. All right. And just for Gary Waugh to do his form. Okay. And it was like they had these big car batteries and they had to like jump it to make sure the music plays. It was insane. And
That's wild.
at the time too, what was different about this was they were still kind of using old school divisions. So the junior divisions were still called advanced, not black belt. So when I was competing in the circuit, it was brown and black belts, red, brown, and black belts competing against each other, right? So this tournament was National Black Belt League. I was technically a brown belt competing in the black belt division, won the black belt division, and I was getting NBL points when I wasn't even, a black belt yet. So that was an interesting.
Let's talk about that time. 93, you said, right?
Yep.
Which we talked about how that was probably the best era of martial arts is the 90s.
The 90s,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I think martial arts as a whole, it was the best. It was absolutely the best. People can go back in a time machine and start watching Jean-Claude Van Damme movies and everything else. But the truly being, I feel, someone step in and tell me I'm an idiot, being a black belt in Taekwondo or karate at that time, 1993, is close to being a jiu-jitsu black belt today. In the sense that if you're a jiu-jitsu brown belt, like it's pretty universal. It's pretty damn hard to do that. Like that is one of the harder things to do. If you were to walk up to someone and be like, and just say, I'm a Taekwondo black belt, and you might be one of the most decorated Taekwondo schools, all right, in the country. And when you hear it, it's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter what school you say, I'm a jiu-jitsu brown belt. It automatically holds so much weight. I remember at around that time hearing someone was a red belt thinking that they were like a demigod, This is someone's a red, like, you're a red belt? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So the fact that you won that division, the fact that it was red, brown, and black, it's just there wasn't a lot of black belts.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple that were, especially in that age group too, So, and then I went to Grand Championship, and I lost by 100 for a tie with like the 17-year-old who was Brian Winfrey, who at the time just won the overall Grand Championships at the Super Grands. So I was just like in awe. I beat Gary Waugh, who just won who actually that same year won the overall traditional Grand Championship at Super Grand. So it was just one of those weird things, right? It's just a weird, like, I don't think I'm that good at this, but they're all saying I am. So maybe I got a shot. I wasn't even training with John Valera yet at that time. Okay. Like I was still doing a made up, a modification version of a dojo form, like a form,
like a curriculum form.
Yeah. And I was just modifying it to where instead of a round kick, I was doing the pump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stick the side kick, and like I would add the jump split, or the split kick, or landing the split and do the, the nut shot, right?
Like Johnny Cage.
Yeah, like Johnny Cage. So it was just cool to see that. And for me, that was what I loved about the NBL was that you got to see regional tournaments, but you also got to see high level people at a regional tournament that, and it went to somewhere, right? You said, oh man, maybe I should go to Super Grands this year, because I
Right.
think I could do this, it's that. So it was really cool.
No,
Phenom, I don't
Mike,
know.
you're right. Jeff is a phenom. You know what I was just thinking about too?
What's up?
So you're talking about all the things you've done, like you winning a black belt division as a red belt, you know.
I didn't mean this to be like that. I didn't
I know,
really.
but it popped in my
Yeah.
head. And the fact that Mike said it makes me be like, you know what? Maybe having that kind of thing happen, you're like, hey, yeah, I did know a guy one time who did that. All right, that's pretty phenomenal. That's pretty cool. But
Right.
you have a million things like that. Like I knew a guy who did yada yada. I knew a guy who did, machine gun kicks in a circle on his knee. I knew a guy who held a twist kick in his form. Right. I knew a guy who did a form to Moni Moni. No, I knew a guy who did a form to Intergalactic. And it's the same guy for all of those things. Right. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of, but all right. Well, I know it's going to make you uncomfortable if I keep going, so I'm going to stop.
That's all good. No, I mean, there's so many cool things with the NBL. I hope you guys share about that. We'll do probably another episode on that as well.
Yeah.
But that was a fun time. And you know what? Just, I mean, be honest, he is a little upset that, the way it turned out and it didn't work out. But I just said, listen, you did amazing things, like it's just a business. Sometimes people move on to something else in their life. Some people, you had this span of 30 years and now you moved on to something else in your life. That's just the way it is.
Yes. And if I were Boyce, I would probably feel similarly. However, if he's on to the chapter in his life that he is, which sounds fantastic, I would also be like, you know what? Kind of cool. Because clearly the rest of the martial arts competition world has started to take areas of what the NBL was doing.
Right.
And they didn't do it at the time, but now they're doing it. Right.
Right.
I think the yearbook was one of my favorite things about the NBL.
Yeah.
Because the yearbook, you may not have been to that tournament. Right. But I had a copy of the NBL yearbook every time, and I didn't really go to NBL tournaments, right?
Right.
So
exactly. That's how I knew about it too.
Right. So that's how I knew a lot about guys like Justice Lawrence before I ever saw Justice. Right. So as I saw that, and then it was pre-internet, right?
Yeah.
I would ask guys about like, hey, did you ever hear about this guy? I'm like, no, who are you talking about? Like, now I think I know what I'm talking about because I've read through the yearbook, and then we went to Black and Blue videos to see what tournaments that Wally was at. That can we get a little snippet of this? Can we get a snippet of that? But what's so cool then is because you're so in the moment. Because let's just take that example that I'm talking about. We'll just use Justice as an example, but it could be anybody. Okay, so. Now I'm like, well, let me go see that tournament in Vegas. I know that was a pretty good, NBL tournament. Maybe Wally was there. Okay. Wally was there. Okay, let me get the tape. I'm gonna go buy the tape, VHS, by the way. Put it in, and then I'm watching it. I'm watching basically the promo of the eliminations, and I'm looking through to see if I can see because they're in gear. I can't really tell, so I'm just forced to be in the moment and watch high-level martial arts. And that was one of the things I liked a lot. Is the yearbook made me want to do that.
What was cool too, it wasn't just like, all right, here's the winner and here's everyone who got 2nd through 8th, which was in there. But it also had, all right, there's a story on each division as well, like how the head-to-head happened on stage in the finals. Who are some of the high-level people that they beat? What were the best matches of that division? Like which is like really crazy, right? So you felt like it was almost like a sports center before there was on each one. So it's really a cool thing that happened. There's so many things that we could share, about like Smash Magazine and so many things like that. So that was a cool time. So everyone that commented on my picture this week, thank you guys. And again, I want to keep it positive because yeah, everyone has flaws. Everyone has things that they wish, they would have seen the NBL do. And we can get into that some other time too. But I don't really think that was the point of it, So
Well, let's ask the insiders. Would you guys? I don't even know if you would do it, Jeff. Would you guys like to see a show with Boy Slidell?
he won't do it.
Insiders, what would you do it? I know, but I'm asking the insiders what they would like.
They've already said yes before, so
Come on, boys. We all want a piece of you in a positive way. Come on, man. Jump
all
in.
right. So guys, we just had some big events going on. So we had the USA NKF Nationals going on. All right. So if people don't know, we had a lot of our sport karate competitors on NASCA and former NBL people and different circuits that went to that. That was in Lafayette, Louisiana. If you went there, share with us in the comments what you thought about. Yeah, we're going to get to Vice City as well, Sam. But share about that. We had lots of competitors that went for their first time, like Amanda Duarte and Katie McMillan, Pia. A lot of these competitors went, experienced for the first time. Some did well, some didn't fare the way that they thought they should or they could have, but it's a new experience. So you have Mason Stowell, who got his second year in a row getting a silver. You got Emerson that went this year as well. How was the experience for you guys? I saw that she won a gold in team katas, which is awesome, right? And I believe she went to the third round in her division. So share, guys, if you went. This is Sport Karate Free for All. So we want you guys to be involved in the show. So if you heard of someone who went to USA Nationals, share how they did, share what was the best part of it to you guys. All right. Her second year, and it was a great experience. Thank you, Carolina. So Pia went, it was her second year. And looked like you guys, she had a great time as well. We have, a good amount of different competitors from NASCA that went. And I think it's cool because I think we need more of that. I think we need more variety in our sport.
Well, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think we need some more crossover. I'm hearing some things that some of these circuits, these traditional circuits, want to do something with some CMX vibe to kind of get those people involved. I'm hearing that some of these circuits want to start having sport martial arts involved in their traditional Taekwondo and traditional karate leagues. So there are some really cool meetings that will be happening over the next week or two. I'll just tell you that I know I'm involved in from just my couple of weeks that I've been busy, as what we talked about last week was at AAU and talking to people there. And then was at US Open talking to people there. So it's really cool that everyone is seeing that there's more than just NASCA and there's outside of it, but also that there is NASCA and that there's a lot of value in that too. And that these competitors are very high level in everything they do. Right. Again, some people say, oh, well, this top NASCA person didn't win. Okay. Well, it doesn't, when does the top traditional karate person come over and their first tournament win in NASCA? No, they don't. But the level of competitor and the level of athlete that we have in sport karate and NASCA can adapt to anything. And we've seen that with competitors like Caio Da Silva, like Maddie Kenaway, like Mason Stowell, like so many, like Matthew Grushia, who won, the Canadian Nationals for his age group and the adults, and that's awesome. She was able to do 3 rounds in the 16, 17, and 16 to 34. I love that too, that age group too, 16, 34, especially for forums. That's pretty cool. So What are
That's
your what are your mindset on this as far as what you're hearing from about this?
what I'm interested in is what the competition culture is like. So I like what
Mm,
you said, Jeff, when you were like, we need some diversity. If you think about the way our circuit is an open circuit, but we treat it closed. We treat it like
right.
it's closed, like it's an open closed circuit, right? Example,
Seeds.
we treat Ariel Torres like he's one of our own.
Right.
When he was just like, hey, I've always been doing this thing. I just went over to you guys for a cup of coffee. But that's the good thing about what we do in our open circuit is if you've had any kind of success with us, we celebrate you when you are, even if you haven't had a great deal of success, we celebrate you if you're out having success somewhere else in another martial arts field.
Yep.
But when you come from another area to us, sometimes we'll scrutinize you. But another area where it's like, we kind of operate like mentally like we're closed. We are the biggest copycat league I've ever seen.
It's true.
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not, right? Like, let's just take fighting for a minute. All right, Drew, I guess he was here for a little longer. My bad. All right.
But
But-
it wasn't like he was still doing predominantly the traditional circuit.
The
That was his-
WKF type system. That's
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
All right. Like if we treat like we treat. All right, I'm starting to ramble.
Shut up.
I'm going to bring it back. Let's take forms, for example. Okay. Let's go back to the year 2000. Okay. Before that, when it came time to like tricking, right? The tricks we did, we had like, we didn't really do combos. There wasn't really a lot of guys that did combos. There was a handful of guys that were able to do combos. Carmichael
And it
Simon
was
was one of them
But it
long
was usually
before.
one combo, you know.
Right. And it would be like one combo. And like Carmichael did the super combo at the time because nobody could wrap their head around what he was doing. Right. Because nobody did that. They would do their form. They'd do one big jump kick and then they'd stop and then they go on to another thing. Maybe they'd do two. Maybe. By the time we got to like the year 2000, it started to become a copycat league in terms of tricks. Like really like the butterfly twist. All of a sudden, everybody was doing it. It wasn't everybody doing that before. Now all of a sudden, everybody's doing that. Okay. Move on to like 2001. Steve Terada is now here. All right. Steve Terada starts doing this jump 360 stick front kick move. Everybody's doing it in their form then at that point. Nobody was doing it. Nobody did that for years. Like I really don't ever remember people doing that. He does that a couple times. Now all of a sudden everybody wants to do it.
He wasn't the person I remember for that, but yeah, that's fine.
That's what I
remember. I remember David Douglas was the first one to do that, but yeah, it's okay.
You might be. Now listen, David was cool,
but he also trained. He trained with David as well and Arnold. So
David did so many. But see, that's the thing. David did so many different things, that it was hard for me to even look at that and be like, this is your thing. So, but then it just went on. And then the next year was a new thing. And then the next year was a new thing. But then it would start to copy those things until you see guys like Kalman Choka do like 4 really big tricks in a row, multiple times in a form. And it was like, oh, never mind. We can all start to do this. And then that's when the levels really start going up. But it became a copycat league big time in terms of that. But even in fighting, right? So it's the same type of thing. And typically you'd have a guy who was the leading guy who was, let's say it was Ross Levine or it was Raymond Daniels, right? Raymond Daniels would have it, his back fist punch dive bomb blitz, boom, boom. And we all tried. We all got better at it. Not everybody did it like him. All right. But then when he started doing like a rear hand first, when he started doing that. Then all of a sudden, everybody else wanted to do that too. Wasn't that people weren't doing it, but it was when he started doing it. Then all of a sudden, everybody else started doing it. But then when Ross Levine was
right.
the best, he did back fist punch sidekick. That's what everybody else did.
True.
I love
So
that.
now-
It makes our sport better. But when we're talking, I know I'm going long, but when you're talking about like we need like a change of scenery sometimes, I think that's good. I think when we get a new perspective in to us, I think that helps us quite a bit. But if somebody thinks
Well,
that
yeah.
they can benefit from us going to them,
Well, this actually happened because what happened was people like Jared Liker, Joey Castro,
right?
and these competitors who were coming from other circuits and were doing USNKF. This actually happened before that with Keith Weston and Daniela Barrientos in the NBL, where they were going to traditional circuits and then going to NBL and winning with those. And then in NASCA, that happened with Jared Liker and several other competitors. Now, this is like the thing where we do the forums when we were doing forums like, say, a Kevin Thompson or a Gabe Bernaga. Now we're doing the forums more like USA NKF and WKF and the different circuits. So we're seeing this now and now. The same thing has eventually kind of happened, kind of flip-flop with the Korean divisions, as people in the Korean division, it was still kind of set where everyone was still key on 17,000 times and things like that. And sometimes you still get that, but that was kind of my thing, is that when I'm going to compete in NASCA, I'm going to do it without 1,000 kiosks. It'll be my 4 or 5 like we do in the NBL, and then kind of go from there.
Right.
So I think everybody, has that. So it's really cool to see the crossover back and forth for these guys, at Pan Am's last year in November, we had 2 high-level competitors that do mostly traditional tournaments in the USA NKF and the WKF and win grand championships at NASCA, so it's just exciting to see all this. And here's one thing. Brett Shumway is going to talk about all the results and everything about this. So make sure you guys check out his show. Brett, when is your show dropping? And then also, I think he's going to do another show with some interviews with some of the coaches that were a part of that. So that's going to be great as well. That is on the Martial Arts Center Network. And he's doing an awesome job with that show. Brett, you did say at that time there was a lot of copying between NBL and NASCA. So Wednesday will be the show, guys. So make sure you guys catch that. And we will also have a extra scoop as well Wednesday night, as I just got that scheduled as well. So, yeah, the copying between NBL and NASCA was comical at times. All right. There were certain things that were really funny. But you talk about how we're a copycat league, but we're also like, there's certain people, you said it almost gets like we look at them down, right? And I go back to the NBL NASCA thing, where at some point it almost got like very split. Like you were either NBL, you were either NASCA. And it was,
100%,
and in some way,
100%,
it got really like almost like politics, right? So it got really bad, and it shouldn't be. And for me, I always felt like I didn't understand it because I did both, and I appreciated both. And even when I didn't compete in NBL and I was in NASCA, like you said, I was reading and I knew everything about the NBL, so much so that I would tell my coaches and people on Team Elite and Team CJB, hey, go check this person out. I just read about this. They just beat all these people that are on NASCA. They just beat these people. So maybe you should go watch them. That's how, it's like, hey, Chris McBride, Carlos Tierney, Regina Thompson, Brian Plipple, all these guys. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool things. I think we're at that same point right now with the WKF circuit, with the ITF circuit, with the WT circuit. So I think a lot of us are intrigued in what else is there, but not to get away from sport karate, but to help us get better at this. I think the more well-rounded you are as a martial artist, the better.
So I
Yes.
agree with that last statement. The more well-rounded you are as a martial artist, the better. So I think the more competitions, regardless of the exact format,
Right.
that you can do, the better you will be. So there was a guy who owns martial arts schools, and he was pretty upset that there was 3 other martial arts schools that, after he was already open and running for years, opened up in his town. And he was pissed. And I'm like, why would you be upset? And he's like, cause they're going to take students from me. And I'm like, that's not possible. The only way they can take students from you is if your students quit. That's the only possible way. That's the thing people don't understand, is having other martial arts schools around you. If you're a martial arts school owner, is a beautiful thing. Your biggest competition as a martial arts school owner or manager or whatever it may be is not other martial arts schools. It's
No.
other activities. It's soccer, it's football, it's track, it's
Right.
you name it, right? Is it like, so I was talking about this to a pastor of mine, and he goes, "That's the best thing you can have is other martial arts schools around you." I'm like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Think about it. When you see churches, don't you normally see other churches around that church?" And I'm like, "Funny you should say that. I guess I actually do." And he goes, "Same thing with gas stations. You see a gas station, you usually see like 2, 3 other gas
Yes.
stations."
Gas
And I'm
stations,
like,
yep.
"Okay, why?" And he goes, "Because when you see a gas station, it makes you think that you need to get gas and you probably need to go get this other convenience thing. But you forgot to pull over. But then the next block, you see a gas station. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to pull over." And I'm like,
Yep.
"That's great. What does it have to do with churches?" And he goes,
Right.
"Because when you see more churches, you see it's like you feel like this is the culture, that this is what this town does. So that's just what they do." What do we got in the chat here? Sam, we're
Yeah,
going to get
Sam
into the
said
Miami Vice, by the way.
schools should be able to work together to make the sport better. In Florida, we hold open mats every week. This is how we better the sport, in my opinion. That's great. I'll give
Yeah, I
another
think open
example.
mats are good.
I'll give another example, even to another end that people probably think is crazy. But
Ooh, I'm here.
I work with another school in my area, maybe 10 minutes from here. We train, the instructors I train together. I teach them karate and taekwondo. They teach me some of the Krav stuff, and we work back and forth. And sometimes we just get together and train, or sometimes we just get together and we talk about business and how we can help each other.
That's good.
Next week, we're going to have a booth together. And people are going to come and they can get information about both of our schools. You know what? Because here's the deal. We're going to gather and we're all going to, because some of my students go and take classes over there in certain things, and some of their students come and take classes from me, and they're doing multiple things. All right. I get a lot of private lessons from people from other schools that the instructor sends them to me. So that way
that kind of makes sense.
And vice and back and forth. So it's us working together. If it's I'm here and then another karate school's across, then it's like this tension, and the person feels like, oh, okay, well, I already put my name over here, so let me not go over here and give them my lead too. Like, well, you know what? Hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to both these guys, and they're actually working together. They're not bitter enemies. And unfortunately, because of a show called Cobra Kai, people now think that that's what our culture is. We're all just against each other, trying to fight each other, and you can only be one or the other. So I think the more we work together, the better. And yeah, so maybe you think I'm nuts, but
no, I don't totally think you're nuts. And I think, listen, one of you would have to be a really bad martial arts instructor or school owner for your student to leave and go somewhere else and be like, "I don't want to be with you, but I love martial arts." That means you kind of did a pretty good job, because now they love martial arts. Okay. Most times when people quit a school, they don't quit the school and go to another school.
No.
They quit martial arts,
martial arts
which is the biggest FU to all of us. That's what people don't understand, right? Is when you do a bad job, you screw over an entire culture of people, right?
Yeah.
You just like imagine, let's go down this world, okay, or this road world, okay? Let's look at this. Let's say 9-year-old Jeff Doss is in a karate school and they do something. I don't know. They have him spar with a 17-year-old, and this 17-year-old spin hook kicks him in the face,
Oh,
and
jeez.
the instructor laughs at him and says, "Should have kept your hand up, kid," and then tells him to
Okay.
get out of here and come back next week. Pisses Jeff off to the point where he's like, "I don't want to do this anymore. I don't even want to do karate anymore."
Right.
Look at what we would have lost. The crazy thing is that happens all the time.
Yep.
Happens
Yep.
all the time. And the person that left, people just go, nothing we could do about it now. Just got to move on. But you don't understand what it is that you've done. You could have potentially just screwed over future Jeff Doss, whoever
Right.
that next person's going to
That
be.
person could have gone on, and now you know what? They're still an amazing athlete. They're in the NFL. They're in
Bingo.
they're in the NBA, or they're a college. They're a D1, athlete. Like that. We could have had that athletic and that superstar in our sport that maybe, could have gone on to stunts and told everyone to do NASCAR or NBL or sport karate. And, there's all kinds of things. So
The responsibility that you have when you're in that position is
long stretch.
vitally important.
Not really. Look how many people in our
It's
sport
not a long stretch. It's not a long stretch
have
at
gone
all.
to be in the NFL. Several. How many have gone to
Well, now that's a stretch, Jonathan.
maybe, but I mean, look at another martial artist, Elvis. Look at there's so many. I mean, I'm just telling you, man. You know what? Maybe that's who we could get on our. If we don't get this other one, maybe we could get like a hologram or AI of Elvis for our 5th anniversary and talk about.
We could at least get an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, Elvis impersonator.
It's not a horrible idea.
No. All right.
So let's put it out there. Listen, we have a 5-year anniversary coming up, and then we're gonna move on to the next topic. Listen.
Yes.
We want Chuck.
Yeah. Let's get Chuck Norris.
We want Chuck. We want Chuck Norris. Need your help. Whoever could get Chuck. I don't care. Everybody go ahead and on your socials, call your senator. I don't care what you got to do. We need Chuck Norris.
Chuck,
we'll go to him. I'll get on the plane. I'll go. I don't care. I don't go nowhere, and I'll go.
We'll make it happen. Guys, 5-year anniversary. This is crazy. All right. We want Chuck Norris. All right. So help us share that. Put it on your socials. Let's go. All right. Big tournament this weekend. Vice City, man. Yo, Damon Rodriguez, USA, Waco USA, all those guys did an amazing job. $10,000. Congrats to Bailey Murphy for winning the $10,000 challenge. Top 10 was in the building all the way from Austria. All kinds of craziness going on. The Hungarians are still here. I think they probably leave tomorrow. They've been here for like 3 weeks. They went to US Open. They went to here. They've been training.
I don't know, Mike. I've talked to him about Chuck. He just said that they're not as close as they were. Not on a bad term. They just don't connect as much. I should probably try it again, though. I suppose he's got a better shot at him than I do. That's for dang sure.
Right.
So, Mike, you got a good point. Sorry, Jeff.
Francesca Ceci was in the building. She won, I believe, the open weight and the grand. Sam, tell us about it. What were some of the best parts for you? Also, Team Revolution teammate Melina Pecci won the $500 for the Forms Grand Championships. So many different countries: Hungary, Puerto Rico, Guatemala, Ethiopia, Mexico, and many more. That's also some from Venezuela as well. There was also some tournaments in Georgia this week too. There was some high level people as well. So lots going on. What were some of the cool things that you saw? What were some things that stood out to you?
I thought the judging was really good. I mean, I'm watching it, virtually, but I didn't watch every division. I thought the judging was pretty dang good. And sometimes you can kind of get a feel for what like the environment is like, even though it's just on like a screen, or it's you
Right.
know your TV, your laptop, your phone, whatever it may have you. And sometimes you can get a feel. And sometimes you're like, I don't really know what's going on. I just see butts on a screen in between the division.
Yeah.
That happens too much, by the way. But it really felt like there was just a buzz in the building. There's a
Yeah.
few things. I thought that fight between Bailey and Tyreek was fantastic.
Yes.
I mean,
the energy, bro.
the energy, the athleticism. There was listen, I was watching and I thought Tyreek hit Bailey with this sidekick that was solid. Didn't get called, and I'm like, man, that must have hit his hip or something, because Bailey jumped back. A little bit later into the next round. I don't know if you saw this. Bailey throws a spin kick. Might have been a jump spin. And it was literally like a movie. It was a movie. So
it was a movie. I didn't think it was real.
I was wondering, I was like, but I'm still questioning if Tyreek got hit and then spun and flew into the air and then hit the ground, or if Tyreek is like, this is the only direction I can go, and like went with the direction of the kick.
It was the craziest thing. I still don't get it, because the video I saw, that happened, but it doesn't go right to him. It like goes to Bailey, and then 2 seconds later you see and Tyreek's up. I'm like, okay, well, it wasn't that bad, but I don't know. It was just wild. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, so I watched the Point Fighter live feed. Shout out to Alex Reyes for that.
Yeah.
And I was just watching it, like fighter on one side, fighter on the other side. And when he hit, that's what I don't put it past Tyreek, that in the moment, if he's like, this is the only direction I can go, I have to go this way. And if the kick is going, he just like dives and goes with it. It was awesome. It was so awesome. That's why it's like, it's literally out of a movie. Sometimes I wonder, are the movie guys picking the right athletes? You got these two guys doing this in real life.
True.
Maybe you should be picking them.
Well,
some of the Forms guys never been hit before.
Well, think about someone who's really successful right now in stunts. The guy does it all. Justin Ortiz, right? This dude, he's done it all. And fighting, forms, weapons, everything. So, and you know what? Tyreek and Bailey are those type of athletes as well. So, pretty cool. Sam's saying some good things about the refs, man. He's saying refs were always great. USA Sport Karate is working tirelessly with Waco to make refereeing better, and so many great refs for the fight. So he was proud to see it. He also said that, in the overall forms grand, there was Andrew Ferrer from the area there from Extreme, Melina Pecci for traditional weapons, Joel for extreme weapons, and himself, Sam, for creative weapons. And he said several others as well. So they had a good time for this event. One other thing that I thought was cool, and I think they did this last year too, was they did like the female women's challenge, like a team fight, right? And I guess Francesca Cece chose a team of females, of junior females, to go against someone else's team. And so I thought that was a really cool thing, to be coached and led by a superstar like that, and for them to go head to head with other ones. That's just a cool idea. It's almost like a draft type challenge. That was something that I always wanted to do in my turn. I wanted to do a Richard Plowden versus Mike Conroy team challenge, like where they had to pick only people at their events. Listen, I know I'm giving away things, but I think that time's kind of done. We could still do it, but
Wait. What if we did it in reverse?
Oh, they chose the coach?
Bingo.
Oh,
What if you
okay.
did it in reverse in a team? Picture that. Let's say there's 10 teams.
Hmm.
Well, let's make it 16 to make it the brackets even. 16 teams. And you have to
Good
pick
luck.
six. I know. Not necessarily, but anyway. All right. Okay,
Let's
fine.
say
8 teams. Let's say
it's
8.
probably good.
Okay. 8 teams, and you got to pick 8 coaches who were there. We're on here. We're all on the toes on the line. Which one
Oh,
of us
there.
you want? All right. Brum. You get to pick first. How cool would that be?
That would be cool, but I
I
think
think that would be really cool. I think that would give
it
a
would be
lot. I
cool,
think
but
you'd find
eh,
out who the fighters respect a lot more.
there's that. That's true. But at the same time, if you already have a solid team, like you got a solid, it's still the players that are actually doing that part. So what's cool about it is that you're starting from scratch and you're having a high level coach pick the people that are there and make their own team plus put them out there. So you're seeing just the overall kind of mixture of it. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool. I think to me that it's like pickup basketball, right?
Oh, 100%. It's like pickup
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
All right. So great job to Damon Rodriguez. Great job to Vice City. Everybody,
I
you have
know.
something else? Yeah.
I do have something else.
Okay.
So if you're watching any of the fighting there, I mean, there is outside of Bailey Murphy and Tyreek Saint, which were amazing. You take those two out of it, there is another thing that you're like, how can we not talk about this? And that's um Demetrios. I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah, Demetrios. Yeah.
So he's pretty dang good. His kicking is so good that I don't think he knows what to do with it.
Mm.
And I'm gonna be honest, because I'm watching him be so defensive. Like he's kicking and doing a phenomenal job, like rechambering, going high, because like a really good kicker, right, can keep their foot up for an extended period, right?
Right.
When you're defending a kick, right, most of us all understand, like eventually this foot will go down. It will go down, all right? The great kickers can keep it up longer than you can hold out for it, right?
Mhm.
They'll keep it up for a long period of time, and eventually you'll get frustrated and you'll do something you shouldn't do, right? The great kickers can make you do that. What Demetrios was doing is Demetrios was doing that, bringing his kick up to a higher level, which normally is harder to do. And I want to say normally it doesn't happen, but it's harder to do because normally you'll kick, you'll go up, and then as your kicks start to go down because well, gravity isn't helping you,
Right.
and it's harder, right? So maybe I'll get another one on the way down, and then boom, somebody steps in with a back fist. He's not. He's rechambering, lifting it up higher, going backwards, and then
Crazy.
but right. But and
Right.
I'm okay with the retreating, but then go back in. But he doesn't. He just goes back and then put his leg down. And I'm like, what did you do that for? We had all this advantage, and you just took it away by going backwards. And all the other people who want to be a great kicker look at that and go, what in the wild world of sports did you do that for? If I could do that, I would handle that way differently.
Right.
Now, I baked in the fact that when people get close to you, when you're kicking like that, and they start to pressure, he's used to people being able to, and maybe they're still able to do this. They just don't do it as often in the continental U.S.
Yeah.
Throw in a body jab while if you're
What? Did you guys have Alex freeze? He froze on my end. Maybe just me. I don't know. Let me know. All right. So let me know if you guys hear me. I don't know. All right, he is frozen. All right. Alex. So he had a great point about Demetrios. But yeah, what happens is that in in Waco, normally when that is happening, he's used someone coming in with the body jab. So he would kind of retreat and pull back the chamber so that way he creates the space and still hits with the kick, or baits them in to throw the body jab so that way he could hit him with the kick. So, but we don't really have people aren't as used to that yet, or don't do that. They do different things on this. So hold on one second. All right, he's coming back. But let's see. Alex is gone AWOL, man. We'll get him going. But overall, man, I love watching that guy compete. I love watching him perform. And I think it's really been cool to see him from last year at AmeriKick to now competing. Yo, you there?
It just went out. Got a hot spot from the phone here. How we doing,
Wow.
guys? What did I just miss? Hopefully it wasn't a lot. My bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
No, I was just explaining what you were talking about, because what you were saying, and it makes sense. He's used to people when he brings that leg up, for them to kind of dive in with the body jab. And so what he's doing is kind of retreating, almost like baiting them in for the body jab, so that way he can hit them on the way in, right? But in the States, people aren't really doing that as much. So he's probably
They're not
expecting
doing it as
something.
much. They're not calling it as much.
That's that
They're
too.
not calling it as much either. So, but eventually you got to figure out, what do you want to do? Do you want to try, go get your point and kick him in between the eyes? Or are you afraid that somebody's going to hit the body jab? And Jeff, we'll talk about.
I don't know what you're saying, robot.
Oh, did I freeze? Did I freeze? My bad. My bad.
You're
All right.
just very robot.
Well, what I was saying is,
You're
what kickers hate. My bad. My bad. What kickers hate the most is they hate pressure. But most people hate pressure. Most people hate
Yes.
it when they're forced to make a decision. So he could be a lot better than what he has the talent to do that. And not everybody has that talent. That's a very unique talent skill that he has. I feel he's using like 40% of what he can do.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, it takes people a while to adjust to fighting here as well, and fighting with those people. So I believe for him to still be at that high level and winning his division and being there, he's doing a great job in that, so I think he's going to figure it out. So I'm excited to see the next event that he's doing here. I guess would probably be AmeriKick, with those guys being with USA Top 10. So it's going to be exciting to see. So it's going to be fun. All right. So let's do a little bit of Q&A, guys. Who's got a topic that you want us to address? We're going to do 5 to 10 minutes left of the show. That's it. And so who's got a topic that maybe you want us to discuss? We got a few people watching. Let's go. Let's go.
We'll step right out.
Sam, I'm sure you got something. Michael, you probably got something. Derek Bisbee, sir. Great seeing you again at US Open, sir. Looking forward to seeing you soon. We got some big tournaments coming up soon, guys. The next, for myself this weekend, it's a busy weekend. I actually have a tournament that's on Friday night, a small local tournament they're doing on Friday night, and then a tournament an hour away on Saturday. And then Sunday, I'll be teaching at a retreat, a martial arts retreat all day. So the retreat starts Friday morning and then goes, and then, I don't know, man. There's a lot going on. There's camps and everything going on Saturday. And then there's a banquet that night. It's just crazy. It's my instructor, Lawrence Arthur, that has the Africa retreat. So there'll be a lot of different training. We'll be doing a lot of different stuff. All right. Expansion of USA Sport Karate. So thoughts on that for Florida, to Georgia, Pennsylvania, New York. so for me, I'm excited and I'm glad to see that, like K-Talk is a part of USA Sport Karate. I think the biggest thing that helps is having
Yes.
someone like Jeremy Roque coordinating their events, because this dude knows how to run a great event. Um, and I think it's cool to see that, because I know the organization they put into it. Overall, I feel like that expansion just puts pressure on other promoters and other leagues to just be better. And I don't think anyone feels like it's pressure like they're going to take over, because I don't think that's their mindset. I think their mindset is just to put on a good product and a great product. So that's what I think. Alex, you got anything about that? Alex may be frozen as well. So, all right, next question. So thank you, Sam, for that. Anybody else got a question or a topic they want us to discuss? Yes, Drew. What are you thinking, Drew? He says yes, but I don't know what it was. Oh, do I see USA Sport Karate moving west? I'm not sure if they do that. I think they would need to work with the league to make that happen. Yes, and I can't forget Dave Sklar as well. Dave Sklar has put on a great event for years and has had a great league for years. And those guys together, they're just a good team, and they're doing an awesome job as well with the USA WACO organization. Yeah, and man, Sue, you guys have had some great coordinators, some great people to help run your event for years. Right now, you have Mr. Leclerc and Garth Benz, but for years you've had some great ones as well. Like Mike Conroy's been a great coordinator. Jotty is always a part of it. All right, let's get into this one. Drew, setting up a scoring system that is more specific, like gymnastics. We've talked about this plenty of times. I think it's very important.
Yeah.
And, it's going to, like we said before, it's going to take a while to implement, and we're going to have to get through that sucky period. That's that really bad period where it's not going to run as smooth as possible, but we have to get through it to the next growth, right? Just like us having judges in another hotel. Just like if we have to have one judge, right? Just like if we have to do things that are different, right? Kumite tried it because that was the NBL thing, and that was the tournament that they chose to try it at. We actually did that in the NBL, Brett, the last year. I think it was like 2018, maybe into 19. We used that scoring system. We did it in my tournament. I was kind of one of the ones that tried it as well, and we did it Super Grands 1 or 2 years, and I think it worked well. But there's a lot of different way. You got to train people on how to score that way. It's a little different. Yep, it's about making a uniform league. Alex, you still with me?
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, it sounds like he looks a little drunk.
The story here's.
I don't know what he's
good.
saying. Okay.
There's storms going on over here, so
I got you. Well, we'll be done. So we got 2 minutes, guys. Give us another topic or something you want us to shout out quick before we finish the show. Again, we got Extra Scoop this Wednesday at 9:30. The other goal is share this now. Let's get Chuck Norris on Inside Scoop in August for our 5th anniversary show. Let's get Chuck. Hashtag we want Chuck. Okay. We want Chuck. All right. Let's do it. We'll even share his, we'll advertise his, what's the supplement he has. I forgot what it is. I hear it all the time on Sirius FM. Yeah, I agree, Brett. We need to get away from the 9.99, the ranking scoring. Thanks, Matt. We want Chuck. All right, last one. What fighters do we want to see do forms? Ooh, well, we saw Bailey Murphy do Korean forms this past year. I would love to see him do an open form. Another person I would love to see do forums is Cam Dawson. And people don't know how much I respect Cam Dawson. Before the finals, I went and asked him for a couple of advices on if I should do a certain kick a certain way or whatnot in my Korean form, because he knows it. He knows all the forms just like I do, and we both train it. And he's always asking me, "What form are you doing this weekend? How are you doing this?" So Cam is a big one. D Stacks was a great junior competitor. This dude was awesome. I think he has one of the underbelt Warrior Cups in forms. Yeah, it's be careful, Alex, man. And anyone else, Alex, that you could think of? What fighters do you want to see do forms? Is there another person? And yes, Kevin does great forms. And if you watched, one of his Trey, one of the guys that he helped teach those at Tony Young School, won his division at U.S. Open. So Kevin Walker is a great forms competitor. Anybody else, Alex? Or you're all frozen up? All right, guys. So we will share more of this, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Episode 247, this Q&A and Sport Karate Free-For-All. Share the podcast and let everybody know we want Chuck on our 5th anniversary. All right. Which is in a month. All right. 5 years. It's crazy. So have a blessed day, guys. And everyone be safe with all the storms and everything. And we will see you guys next week. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. That is Alex Frozen Dingman. And this is Jeff Sushi Doss. Have a blessed day.